All right, yogis. So today we haven't done the laying on our back start in a little while. So I'm going to take my two blocks. First block, set maybe a little bit lower. Second block, about 6, 8 inches, 10 inches maybe if you're taller, between those blocks. And then I'm going to lay back here. Okay, there's a lot of different variations with this. You could use a pillow under your back. That's much easier as opposed to blocks. And again, if you want more, you don't even use the second block. Your head can kind of go on the floor, letting the front of the neck open. It's actually good to do that, always looking down on our phones. The head is going forward and down. All right, yogis, you can bring the soles of your feet together, knees open, bring your arms to the T. All right, let's work our breath practice, just kind of grounding and centering here to start, okay? Once you relax and settle the body, a slow, deep inhale, first feeling your abdominal area lift and spread, maybe bringing the breath into the middle ribs and chest, but a little bit more emphasis on the navel, abdominal breathing. So some things to think about here when you're focusing on your breath. Remember, we are trying to breathe in and out the nose. It's a good idea to use the Ujjayi, a soft version of Ujjayi breathing. Remember, this is where we create a restriction in our throat. The mouth stays closed, but it's kind of like you're breathing in and out your mouth, but it's closed. So the pull of the inhale doesn't happen from like the nasal. It's more from like the lower throat or nasal cavity. We're also trying to exhale deeper, particularly, and we're trying to breathe a lot smoother in and out the nose. All right. So you're meditating, following the breath in and out. Last minute or so here. This is one of my favorite positions for developing abdominal breathing, where so often we become chest breathers with the chest, the breath is coming up high. As we learn to bring that breath into the abdomen, we're helping stimulating the vagus nerve, this big nerve that's kind of connecting to our digestive tract and can really help us have a stronger parasympathetic response, just making us feel good, relaxed, and happy. All right. So let's keep it going here, yogis. That's a pretty good start there, almost 3, 4 minutes. You can bring your hands behind your head or on your outer thighs, kind of help the body lift up out of this, knees come together. Use your core and your arms to kind of get up off of those blocks. And we're just going to remove our blocks and just kind of lay right on the back. All right, yogis, once you're on your back, you can bring your knees into your chest and just start some feel-good movements here. Think therapeutics just for a moment, just kind of circling the knees together will massage out the sacral area. Might feel good to roll out your ankles, kind of wiggle your toes, kind of bend and straighten your knees. Just think of it like running through your joints, right? Another nice little movement here is to bring your knees toward your chest together. Then they go wide, forward, back together toward your chest. That's a big hip circle at the hip joint. So it is different than the previous knees together. And then the last thing here, just one of my little micro warm-ups, reaching your arms kind of to the back corners of your mat. That's different than to the T, all right? It's kind of like your arms are in a V shape, and then your knees are going to knock windshield wipe side to side. You should feel a pretty good stretch in this one, especially if you're doing any type of like physical exercise. The hips get tight in rotation. This is really nice because it hits your glutes and your deep lateral rotators, like your piriformis. All right, so I'm going to get into that first stronger movement, and I'm going to use the block between the thighs this morning because our knees were opening in the first position, kind of tightening up our flexibility or strengthening it. So block between the thighs, let's work our bridges. Feet right behind your sit bones, I think everyone knows this. Lower back down. I work on tilting the pelvis. So a posterior tilt, not really pressing through my feet yet. I press my lower back and hover my hips a 1/4 inch. Okay, then I press through the feet and hip extension to the spinal pelvic tilt action. So it's hips with pelvic tilt and spine. Okay, I'm up in my bridge, pausing, noticing my back is not arching here, guys. I am trying to lengthen the pubic bone kind of up and toward my navel. After a good pause here, I'm going to lower down vertebrae by vertebrae. Lower back and hips will come down. And in the end, lower back will actually relax, feeling a slight arch there, neutral position. Okay, round 2, lower back down, hips hover 1/4 inch. Then press through the feet, the big toe, the heel. Holding up in that bridge. And again, you might need to adjust your feet. My knees and lower back weren't feeling as good until I got my feet a little closer together. Ideally, your knees are kind of under your heels. And then just take like 3, 4 more. Kind of think of it like a warm-up activation for your back body. So it doesn't need to be too strenuous. Remember, if you're always working like really hard on your body, it's good to kind of give it a little bit more soothing approach. You know, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like to teach things like restorative yoga, and I'm a big advocate of it, you know, just working on the repetitive intention of parasympathetic, kind of just staying a little bit more relaxed in exercise, as opposed to kind of, you know, always going like really intense intensity. So, you know, making it more of like a meditative exercise intention as opposed to, you know, an athletic approach. Okay. And if you're feeling good, nice, you can do a single leg or just hold a little bit longer or a little pulse at the top. Those can all make this a little bit more, you know, stimulating. Okay. All right, yogis, so I'm going to keep it going. Now, this next exercise, you don't have to be warmed up for at all, but I like to get that bridge in before we do it, all right? We'll meet with our knees into our chest to remove your block. I'm just going to keep demoing. You take your time catching up. Left leg releases. So this is active. I do want you to flex your left foot and kind of engage your left thigh. That's the leg that's released. Intertwining our fingers, 10 fingers behind the right hamstring, okay? So I'm going to inhale, kind of bend the knee toward the chest, squeeze my pelvic floor, pull my belly in. Exhale, I'm going to try to straighten my right leg more, flex my right foot active, and try to pull on the right leg toward the chest. Inhale, I do resist. So it's kind of like the thigh is pulling into the hands are pulling into the thigh. Exhale is active, right? This is like a warrior 3 body form. And I'm working on engaging that thigh, flexing that foot and pulling here. So I'm not really using a strap, but it's similar. Inhale, and it's dynamic and active. Exhale, flex, hold, pull, maybe an extra breath. And if you're getting good at it, you know, the thighs start to come closer to the chest, but you're working on kind of flexing through both feet and engaging both thighs and finding, see, this is pretty intense, I would say, for the average person. They use this in physical therapy. You know, if you have like a tight lower back, we know that the hamstrings connect directly in that superficial back line to your lower back arch, the muscles that are kind of running up the back, your erectors. So it's really a good thing, like you have a tight back, to kind of make sure the hamstrings are open in the morning because you're kind of still all night. So a lot of times you see people doing this first thing in the morning, like first exercise. All right. All right. So listen, we're going to go right into another exercise. So we're not going to do the second side. We're going to bring that into our first twist. So we're going to meet here, knee over hip, hip scooch right. Look at the knee. It goes over to the left, spinal twist. But I'm going to do it moving today, yogis. Right now, my arms are to the T. I'm going to exhale, roll to my left, my right hand toward my left. Inhale, my right arm goes up and open as I kind of keep that right knee over to the left, okay? Exhale, left hand toward right hand. Inhale, right arm up and open, okay? If you want to see a little bit more challenging version, I exhale here, and then my right hand kind of traces the floor above my head. So it's going to be more of a shoulder opener as well. And then it traces back. So see how I'm reaching above the head. Inhale, right arm out and open. Just do like 2, 3 more. And then I'm going to have you pause in the twist and kind of hold. Yeah, so it's a really nice kind of slow meditative movement, working the core rotation, not just like the arm or the upper body. This is a pretty strong version of this. And then you hold your twist when you're ready, okay? The right arm will reach out, and then you go into that deep breathing. So remember, deeper inhale and particularly exhale, smoother in and out the nose. I mentioned it yesterday in class about, this is from that famous book, Breath. It's all this science about how we breathe and how it affects us. And we know that when we breathe in the nose, you stimulate one of your sinus cavities that produces a magical chemical called nitric oxide. And that is a vasodilator, which means your blood vessels kind of expand and blood moves freely to cells easier. So the cells are going to get more nutrients and oxygen, right? The number one cause of pain in the body, we know physically speaking, is lack of blood flow. All right. So 6 times more nitric oxide with nasal breathing than mouth breathing. So that's just some food for thought of why we're doing this. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the center. Knees into the chest, please. Just giving you a little bit more time there today, a little bit slower. Yesterday's class was a little fast and crazy. All right. So left knee stays into your chest, right leg releases. That right leg, I do want a lot of intention. All right. So initially bringing some attention there, flexing that right foot, engaging that right thigh, and then start to straighten your left leg up, I like to grip the opposite pinky. So this is how I would be intertwining my fingers behind that hamstring. So now it's my left pinky on bottom, whereas before it was here. Okay, I'm switching the grip. I'm inhaling, bending that knee toward the chest, kind of resisting. So the thigh is kind of pushing into the hands. There's a lot of like strength and pull. Exhale, flex that foot, straighten that leg and pull. So as the leg tries to straighten, there's some resistance via the hands. So remember, we're trying to like pull, we're trying to mimic like a row, let's say, like a pulling of that thigh toward the chest. You inhale, bend the knee, maybe soften the ankle. You can even point the toe a little opposite, and exhale, flex the foot and straighten the leg. Go ahead, a couple more. Try to slow down your mind, close your eyes, and get into the subtle details of what you're feeling here and how you're activating both legs. A lot of people would say this is a better way to stretch your hamstrings than to just get them in a lengthened position. They're both good, but if you tend to do it like, a static stretch, like reaching for your toes, way more than this, you'll get a lot of different benefits here. And this would be a dynamic, active stretch with a lot of, it's similar to like a neuromuscular, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation where you kind of activate the muscle and then you stretch it, right? Because you're pushing the thigh back into the hands, which is an extension, which is hamstring activation, but then you're pulling on it also, which is stretching it. So it's a really cool method, this one here. All right. Now, when you're done, no rush, we're going to take it into the twist. Left knee goes over to the right, hips scooch to the left. And then you're going to exhale your left hand over to your right. It's like you're rolling onto your right side. And then you inhale left arm either up or trace the floor up and open and turn from your core and make it a breath-led kind of moving meditation. And you do probably 6 to 10 of these. So if you did want like a stronger variation of this, if I was teaching a little bit stronger, I would have your back stay down, your knees and legs up in the sky, and you'd knock your knees side to side, right? So there'd be more weight against the rotation, right? So it's kind of the same exercise, but just done where the legs have more weight and you knock your knees kind of and feet side to side, if you remember that one. Just to put some like context of how you can make this difficult, but do the exact same thing, right? So just in case you were confused, this is what I'm talking about, right? We do this a lot. It's like the same thing, right? but it's going to be a little bit more strengthening, whereas this is going to be a little bit more like mobilizing or breaking up stickiness if the core or the back is getting tight, okay? And then you're going to hold your twist whenever you're feeling good. And then work on your breath a little bit more. Again, trying to bring the breath into the back body, lower back ribs and even upper back, underarms. We're always working to bring the breath where we're not good at it, to bring the breath more. It's kind of like spreading your ribs into that space. Whenever you're ready, yogis, no rush at all, please. We're going to come back through center. And we're going to just start with a quick happy baby. Now, if you're feeling really good, you can do something like plow pose. They're kind of, in the same pattern of movement. Happy baby is either grabbing the ankles. Now, it's more like a yogi squat or a lizard than it is like a split or a straight leg. So I'm kind of pulling the bent knee now here. And I could straighten my legs a little, getting deeper into the inner thighs and the hamstrings. All right, and I'm going to keep going here now. We're going to do our second set of bridge, but I'm going to add a little something. And if you're new to this, it's a little awkward. Just be easy to start, all right? Bridge pose, no block, hips lift. If you need to watch me, it's a twisting bridge. Watch me for a moment. My arms could start down by side or kind of brace myself, my elbows down. I'm going to press through my feet, roll to my right, reach my left hand kind of up and over. So it is a little compression on that right shoulder. Okay, and then I'm going to slowly work back to my back, press through my right foot a little bit extra, right hand reaches kind of up and over and away. Okay, you inhale center, you exhale. Not only am I rolling and reaching to the side, but also kind of to the back. So you'll start to feel your left side body, underarm kind of stretch. But do it controlled, yogis. It's not an easy movement. It is beginner, right? Right hand toward kind of left corner of the mat, let's say, okay? Inhale, center, exhale into the rotation. I hope that makes sense. It's a little weird one. But again, we always hold bridge so stiff, especially in the spine. We'll move our legs quite a bit in different ways. Or even our arms, but not really like the core in a rotational or lateral. So this is taking it there, last few moments. Remember that new exercises, your body's trying to figure it out. They're always like a puzzle. And the reminder now, it's always good to do new things, yogis. That's the principle of your neurobics is, making the brain think, not dropping into autopilot or kind of a subconscious routine all the time. Good to try new things, yogis, okay? All right, now that's pretty good there on your second bridge. I want to do one little ab exercise. We're going to bring our knees into our chest. And starting here, if your lower back is tight, anything going on, keep your head, shoulders, arms, lower back down. Just inhale your legs forward, that's pause. If you want a little extra, you can hover your head, right? But keep your lower back down. Exhale, knees in. Inhale out, you're working on tensing your abs. If you want more, yogis, you could do something like this, where your arms are forward, and you inhale your legs forward as your arms go up. Exhale back in. Okay, last few, we did twisting in bridge and that big twisting floss. So I'm just going to keep you symmetrical here. We just came from a twisting bridge, but you're welcome to add any other little abdominal movement. Something to get those abs really kind of firing on here, okay? Last few moments. I tend to do just like a little abs every day. I don't really like go crazy one day a week, like sit and do like all these different rounds of abs. I just do like a little each day. That's what I tend to do. A little legs every day, right? A little arms every day, a lot of different stuff, but I don't tend to have like certain main focuses any day. It's kind of like work the whole body a little, or, what did I lack a little yesterday type thing. All right, you guys feel that pretty good? Whenever you're done, right, you bring your knees into your chest. Let's grab those hamstrings. Let's rock forward and back and take a few of those. So remember, we did the windshield wipe and we massaged out our hips. We did the bridges, massaged out our back. We rocked, we rolled, we rotated twice, massaged out the whole upper back too. We kind of massaged out like everything in the back. All right, so let's make our way up to tabletop. So swing your legs around here. If you need a cat-cow, you can do that. I'm going to skip it today. I'm going to go right to our downward facing dog to get that frontal inversion. And I want to start getting into the feet a little bit more. Okay, so pedaling the feet out. And, find your way there. No rush getting there. You take your time. And I would like you to take at least a minute here, getting into your down dog, breathing deep. Remember, blood flow is increasing into the frontal lobes, whereas bridge is more of the back of the brain, blood flow. So try to keep your head low, the neck soft. Breathing deep in and out the nose. And then you just kind of meditate here, yogis. If you're feeling really good and you could do something like a headstand here, even a handstand up the wall, or if you're feeling a little tired, we can do either like a puppy dog. That's where your knees are down, your hips stay over your knees and your forehead comes down. Or child pose would be the easiest frontal inversion here, okay? Okay, now, no rush. We're going to shift forward to plank. When, some of you are doing something different, that's cool. I'm going to shift forward to plank, just holding that plank for a few breaths today. If you want to add in a few push-ups, that's always pretty fun. Usually if I'm going to hold plank, I'll do an inversion instead. Or I'll work like a balancing plank where I'll hover my right foot and reach my left arm forward. I can hold planks for a pretty long time after years and years of practice. I'll kind of, I only have so much time in the day. So I'll make it a little bit more difficult personally, usually inversions, but if not, I'll add like push-ups as well. Those are really good for the upper body, bearing weight on those arms, kind of dynamic, right? Just not static all the time. Nice. Yeah, just putting some weight on those arms, trying to squeeze that butt a little bit more in the thighs. We're learning to activate muscles. This is a full body pose, right? So we're trying to use a lot of your muscles a little, not a few muscles too much. So we tend to see people with legs getting a little lazy in the plank and even the core. You want to pull the belly and squeeze the butt. Don't forget your butt's your core, okay? Let's bend the elbows. Let's make our way down to our chest, please. Okay. A stretch. Remember, a little bit slower here in today's practice. Right arm reaches out, only a couple of breaths. Press through your left hand, roll to your right side. Try to relax your right ear down. Last 2 to 3 breaths. I used to call this practice yin yang Sunday mornings, and what I was doing there is like plank and dog are pretty yang, right? They're intense and strengthening and challenge your body. And then you can come into the yin here, right? Where it's soft, passive, and a little bit easier. So we're always kind of working hard, but then resting hard, or challenging the body, then soothing the body. Okay, back to center, please. Left arm reaches out. Should feel a nice stretch through the front shoulder, anterior delt, and the pec major, the big upper front chest muscle. And that top leg can kind of reach behind you, almost like a scorpion. And then you might get a little extra hip, waist stretch. That's an interesting pose, right? It's got some extension, rotation, and it can be very different, that one, like body to body, based on your kind of like tightness and anatomy. So we're going to come back to center when you're ready. Now we're going to do active cobras. So I want you to think strengthening, not really stretching just yet, okay? So I want to lengthen through my core,
If you want a little extra, you can reach your arms down by your sides or even like back behind you and grip your hands. Just notice as I lower down, I soften my arms a little. I do want to engage my thighs, point my toes, pull my belly in. It's almost like my abdomen's already hovering, and I press my pubic bone down. And then I'm going to inhale, lift my heart here. If I have my hands here, I'm binding, rolling the shoulders back, squeezing my palms together. I could also just keep my hands here. Just notice I'm not pushing through my hands. Okay, you can a tiny bit, but try to keep your back muscles active. After a nice pause, you're going to lower down. You can relax for a brief moment and then engage your thighs, press your pubic bone down, press your big toe down. Lift the heart, feeling your lower back engaged. Trying to lift a little higher, right? Feel everything kind of light up in your lower back, and then exhale, lower down. A few more. Remember, I'm keeping the feet down because that tends to keep the tension through the lower back. So if we lift the legs, sometimes what happens is middle back, glutes, hamstrings kind of take the tension. Lower back won't work as well, or the activate is strong. So I'm using this personally to activate lower back. Bridge already did glutes and hamstrings pretty good. All right? So get your little active cobras in here, yogi. Strengthen your lower back arch, please. Nice job. When you're done, don't do too many. We're going to keep moving forward here. That works really well with our bridge. This is called like a side sphinx or cobra. Lifting up, what we're going to do is roll onto our left side here. Look at my left forearm underneath my left shoulder. Now, this is easier version. I want you to try to kind of pull the left armpit kind of up. Notice how my left neck lengthens. I'm bracing myself a little bit if I need. If you're really good at this, yogis, you can keep your hands down actually. Turn your left hand in a little bit. And notice I'm in what's called side cobra. This is a really big side body stretch. It's actually one of the biggest, besides cobra, triangle. It's a really huge side body. Try to engage your legs a little bit more in your butt, just so we're not like always flexed. So it's either on your forearm or on your hand. I am literally on the side body. So look at me, yogis. So I can see a couple of you. I'm not like this. Look, I have one line from the side. Basically, look, it's this pose here. I'm not like going forward. Don't hold this one too long, please. Lower down. Does everyone feel that? It's like right above the waist. If you're new to that one, it's big, okay? We're gonna roll back to the chest, right side, right forearm. Most is you can get a really good stretch on the right forearm, okay? And lift up. Again, you're really on your side body. You're not rolling your chest down or your chest not rolling up to the sky. You're in this like neutral lateral position. Try to relax a little bit, okay? We sometimes in like my really strong yoga classes, we'll kind of go into cobra and then in the side cobra and then back through center and back in the side cobra, second side. And it's a pretty intermediate advanced movement. And this is kind of how you start that expression, just kind of coming into it from a lower, easier form, okay? When you're done, lower back down to your chest. Probably a good idea to take child pose after that one. Just for, a moment. And if you don't want to do child pose, you could just go to down dog or an inversion. Take a moment, a little bit slower this morning. Downward facing dog when you're ready, please. All right, downward dog, nice big inhale and big exhale.
So we're going to do these leg lifts. So you're just going to hold down dog. You might step your feet a tiny bit closer together. And it's just a simple movement, just broken down a little bit more than we do normally. So just simple, keep your right leg keep your right leg straight. Inhale your right leg up to the sky really high. Maybe you pulse it one extra time. And then exhale your right foot down, downward dog. That is it. Inhale, left leg goes high. So I want you to try to hold down dog is the main goal, okay? Second goal is to do these what's called straight leg extensions. It's really good for the butt, all right? We're doing a little extra focus on strengthening your glutes today. That's the main pelvic stabilizer, right? So we're inhaling one leg up, really feeling that butt turn on, and exhaling it down. Now, if this is like really easy, now you can do it in plank pose, but I really want you to work spreading your upper back, tucking your tailbone. So it's a posterior tilt or a cat hips against the hip extension. So you're lifting your leg up high, just kind of studying, really feeling this movement. A lot of times we'll say inhale, lift your right leg, exhale, step it forward, but we're trying to focus on a smaller part this morning. Last few, please. If it's really difficult, you can drop to your knees, tabletop. We do it there all the time as well. There's always easier yogis, right? We just strengthen our lower back arch, right? So now we're strengthening the glutes that are right below your lower back arch. So they're kind of working together, okay? All right, now listen, we're gonna meet back in down dog. I see a few is resting, so we're gonna move forward. Down dog, we're gonna do just a couple of chaturangas now. This is gonna be our main dose of this. So you're gonna inhale, shift forward to your plank, bend the elbows halfway or all the way down. Try to hug those elbows in now. Inhale, top of the feet turn down, your cobra up dog. Maybe taking your full cobra where your hips stay down, but you're using your arms to lift the chest, heart up higher. Tuck your chin, tuck your toes, pull your belly in, up and back to downward dog. Then you're just gonna do a few more. Breath-led, meditative. You know, some days you go a little faster here, right? Some days you go slower. Just depends on your intention and what you need. Nice, yeah, like a wave. You're rounding kind of the spine forward, trying to get more articulation through those natural curves of the spine. You're not like a stiff board always in these, right? I do them like that sometimes, but more kind of free movement. So we're not. I remember I was studying exercise science and there was a cool quote. It was like, if you want your body to be rigid, do rigid exercises and rigid movements. And that's when I started to say in class, don't be rigid in your poses. It was a few years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago. But I read that. I was like, oh, wow, yeah, yoga is definitely rigid sometimes. Okay, downward dog, please. That's good. If you keep going, you're on your own, all right? Let's slowly bend the knees, look forward. We're going to walk or hop our feet to the front of our mat.
Inhale. We kind of already stretched the hamstrings. Let's half lift once. But then, I'm not going to have you hold here long, but maybe a breath or three. I kind of think forward bends like this are overdone, right? The knees into the chest, happy baby, hamstring flossing, even abs are kind of a forward bend. So down dog, child pose. We've done this so much already. All right, yogis, let's slowly stand up, please. Okay, take a moment if you need, just loosening up the body a little bit would be good. And we're going to go right into an exercise. We did great warm up for this already. A full body is warmed up, all right? So we're going to alternate. We just did the glute lift. It's kind of like that, but a little different here. So I'm going to alternate sides. I'm going to inhale, hinge my chest. It's called Warrior 3 in yoga, where the left leg lifts. I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to slowly really work on controlling the movement today in and out of the posture. Left foot down. Inhale, right foot hovers. I'm going to hinge, really trying to feel every inch and slow down. It's almost like I can pause every inch. And then exhale back to standing. And you can kind of squeeze your butt, lift your heart at the top. And like a little moving meditation, kind of breaking stuff down today. Inhale this hinge. You could always go to standing split if you want to go further. And sometimes we do this into a handstand hop. And you can pause a little longer,
Or just if it's too much, you go a little less. You don't have to go like really far down. Okay. So I want you to get into this, like 10 per side. And try to notice what your weaker side is, because there's going to be balance or tonic strength and phasic, big muscle stabilization. Try to notice, work a little extra focus on your weaker side. Okay. If you want a little bit more, you could do like arm binds, like reverse prayer, you can mix in, even like Gomukhasana. You could even reach your arms kind of up. And then as you go forward, your arms would start to go forward kind of with the spine. Um, there are ways to make this different. People do this with like weights in the gym as well. Nice. Yes. So, instead of just holding a static balance, we're moving in and out. It's very rare in life that you're going to require balance in a still position. More so, like maybe moving is when balance is needed. Uh, and I think it's just done a little less in yoga. Okay. Last few moments here.
So listen, guys, we're gonna go to bent knee and heel lifted. It's an anti-hinge pose now, whereas that is called the hinge. Next thing is a type of squat. We got a small group today. I want to challenge it here. It's on the average person, the feet and the toes particularly are quite weak. So I want to work that today. We need a lot of warm up to get here. Now my arms are going to reach forward in this one. And what I'm going to do is lift the heels. Now, all you're going to start to do, remember I said it's an anti-hinge, so I don't want the chest to come forward. So my arms stay parallel to the floor, and I'm going to bend my knees a little bit. My knees went forward. Do you see that? I also don't want to see this, yogis. I want to, shoulders over your hips to start. And I'm just bending the knees, getting down here, pausing. Might feel a little like awkward and your knees light up. And then you're going to straighten your legs up. You lift your heels higher, okay? Then I'm going to bend my knees, get lower. Straighten my legs, get up higher, okay? The main goal is to keep your heels lifted for a good minute or so. And if you can add it, a little bit bend in the knee. So this is called like a toe, there's a lot of different names for this in exercise. Basically trying to keep your heels lifted as you're doing a number of actions. If this is a little too much too, you can just kind of like walk in circles, walk off your mat, kind of walk around your room for a moment. As long as those heels are lifted, you're doing what I'm looking for. I like to do that a lot. Like I've said this before over the years. I'll wake up and kind of say, I'm just going to keep my heels lifted for the first half hour of my day. I walk up the stairs, I bring the dog out on a walk, and I'm just got my heels lifted like an inch. And it's really amazing how much you feel your calves, your ankles strengthen and your knees. So it's a little, especially if you're like a heel walker, you kind of, sometimes your heels hit the ground too much. We want to keep those toes really firing because it can change the gait, like how you walk a lot. You start to walk very different. Like almost like when you're walking, you see people who do this, like athletes, and they walk like they're, really like graceful. It's like almost like beautiful to watch them walk. All right, so you keep the heels lifted. That's the goal. Okay, and don't do it too long now. So shake that out a little bit, and holding the arms up, you're going to get that shoulder workout as well. All right, let's keep going, yogis. Lunge, left foot right to the back of your mat, please. Arms up. Couple breaths here, just a little bit more static. If you want to add anything, that's fine. That's the three basics, right? Hinge, squat, and lunge. And just to be clear, there are two even more fundamental things than that. I've tried to say this too. You want to just think of life like, how would your body design to work over years? You kind of bend over to pick something up and you walk with it. So that's called like a deadlift and a weight carry. And then functional fundamentals are the squats, the hinges, and the lunges. Okay, so just remember that when you're doing your routines. those are the fundamental basics. Okay, let's step our second foot forward, please. And go ahead, finding your right foot back. Nice, just lunge, meditative hold. Just a little bit more basic today.
What do you do when you find a basic posture that you're good at and you work on deeper layers of yoga, particularly, to start breathing, sense withdrawal. So, closing your eyes, bringing your mind's eye more into the center, focusing your attention inward, concentration and meditation. Because when we're doing new things, you got to think and look and what's happening. I'm feeling new things. So now I bring you into this basic posture where you can just it's almost like an active rest, all right, for the mind. Nice job. Now, no rush. Again, your weaker side, you should be holding longer, okay? Slowly stand up, please. Give it a moment, shake it out. So we are going to do our Nauli this morning. It is the hugging in, the vacuuming out of the abdominal cavity. So I'm going to widen my feet. I like to keep my hands on my knees. When I do this in the morning, actually, I put my hands on my bathroom sink and I do it like this. This is actually my favorite way to do it, but I also do it like this all the time as well. So, as long as I have something to kind of push down on, I feel like I can do this a little better. So here you go, guys. Big inhale now. Listen, you're going to exhale all the way, and you got to hold your breath out. So once you exhale, you do not inhale. You have to hold the breath out, tuck your chin to your chest, and pull your navel up and in. If you have to go to the bathroom or something, you have to do that before this. This is not going to work with a full bladder. And also, if you ate breakfast, which is not recommended before exercise at all, but if you did, you can't do this right now. You have food in your digestive tract. Not good. You want to do this on an empty stomach, okay? That's why we do it in the morning after waking up, because hopefully you haven't ate any food in 8 to 12 hours. Okay. So here we go. I'll just go with you here. Big inhale. You're gonna exhale max. Tuck your chin. Hold your breath out. Pull your belly in. Now it's a weird one, right? Like I said, I like to put my hands on something, kind of push down a little bit, and I kind of have to use the restroom a little, so I can't really do this right now. I did a few rounds this morning. I at least try to get 1 or 2 rounds in every morning on this, okay? Even if it's quick, you can do the inhale version too, where you kind of just stand up, right? And you inhale, then you just kind of pull this in maximum, until it cramps around your lower back. Right, that's another version here you can do. It's really beginner, but we have a small group of people I think can work the exhale. So it's tough. So you can take a break, right? Take a breath or two, but try again. Remember, I've seen a lot of people that couldn't do this, or I can't figure it out, and then all of a sudden you keep trying and it happens. Okay, so you're trying to you have to exhale. If there's any air in there, your diaphragm's lower, this doesn't happen, okay? So you gotta work on exhaling out, holding your breath out, tucking your chin to kind of close your airways, and pulling the navel, the belly up and in, so it's almost like your ribs get really exposed. Nice, Jamie, that's it. This is one of the best methods for a healthy abdomen and just the transverse abdomen, the spinal stabilization. It's really good for the digestive tract as well, all right? If it hurts a little bit, that's normal, okay? It is gonna be a tough one, okay? So listen, guys, I wanna get to our final standing exercise. So that's bent over, right? We were here, we did a lunge, that's a flexion. So I wanna go for our big hamstring strengthener. If you notice, we've been doing extra back line. The heel raise was the calf. We did our glutes. We did this, right? But now it's the bent knee hamstring. If you want to go stronger and you have a sliding mechanism, like little sliders or a blanket on a hardwood floor, you can do sliding bridge. But a nice way we train this, yogis, you have to be a little resilient in what your body's doing. So I want to stand up really tall, okay? I do not want to see this arching in your back.
I want to see right foot hover, right knee bends. Now look at my right knee. It automatically goes forward. I can't have that here. I want to pull my right knee back, but also my belly in. Right knee back, belly in. And then I'm going to bring my heel to my butt. Look at the knee. Go forward. No, no. Knees are parallel to the side. And I'm going to pulse my heel to my butt. I could reach my arms back, and like I'm trying to touch my fingertips together too. I'm pulsing my right heel to my butt. But at the same time, that knee has to go backward a little, but you have to pull your lower belly and lower ribs in. So there's a lot of like subtle refinements here that really make this, good quality or not. All right. Does everyone feel that? Is your right hamstring gonna like scream at you here? That's something we lack in yoga. It's resisted knee flexion. And that's key because most people's hamstrings are like, probably not the average yogi, but most people's hamstrings are tight and weak. So let's release that. Let's shake it out. You guys feel that? Okay. Got to strengthen those hamstrings, yogis. Remember, they connect to the lower back, and we've been doing so many stretches on them. So here we go. Left foot hovers, left knee pulls back, toes point, ribs pull in. So left knee back, ribs in. Left knee back, ribs in, and this little pulse. You got to be really disciplined here. Last few. Come on, focus. The average yogi probably has weak hamstrings and like flexible, right? Flexible and weak. The average person usually has tight and weak, which is worse. Tight and weak is worse. So we're in the middle. We don't strengthen our hamstrings enough, especially in the bent knee form. Don't forget they also cross the hamstrings or the hips. Usually the yogi's pretty strong there. But when I do knee flexion tests on the average yogis, they can't even lift like 30 pounds. It's crazy. You have 6 huge muscles. You're trying to just knee flex weight. They can't even lift like 30, 40 pounds. It's crazy. So you want to make sure you do that. It's kind of a weakness in yoga. All right. Let's rise up. And you look like you're done there. And a nice way to do that, guys, I did mention it. Just some food for thought here is this. All right, this is one of my favorite ways to do that. So on your own, I actually like that better than what we just did personally, but that's a good way to do it also. Okay, so I kind of lied. You got one more standing exercise. So we're not doing side plank today. I want you to think of this like that. This is our half moon. This is our side plank. This is our reciprocal inhibition for our inner thighs. All right, so I want to find your chair, just a nice light one, and I'm going to shift my weight to one foot. I need one more balance. We just did a balance, and we did the hinging one. This is another one here. Left leg goes out and up. You're going to pause. So you're going to feel like your side body is kind of working, and you're going to feel your side hips working. Okay, and then don't put the foot down. Hover it, and then go back out again. Okay, you should feel your outer hips light up. I don't want to see fast leg swings. I want to see going out with the leg out and up and then holding. This is for beginners, by the way, right? But we do it a lot in tabletop. You kind of think of like a male dog kind of urinating on a fire hydrant. You lift the leg out and up, right? Remember, my knee doesn't go forward. It just goes out to the side. Nice. That's it. Looking good, everyone. That's a nice way to get a lot done. You know me, we do side planks most classes, half moons, triangles. We did all that stuff on Thursday. Just kind of switching it up. Okay, let's do our second side. Please shake it out a little bit. Fun ways you could make this exciting is, throwing like a band around your thighs. If you have those exercise bands, they cost $3 on Amazon or wherever you go. And you should probably have those because it's a great way to strengthen your hips and joints. And another nice way is to just go on like a little unstable surface. So you get good at this. It's kind of like you step on like a cushion or something, and then it'll make you a little bit more unstable. The more you have to think and focus, the better. So a good way to do that is a more unstable surface. You have to be more present.
You can't just go through the motions.
So one last round here, guys. Pausing out in this space. We're doing really good with like hip stabilization today. Just notice I'm leaning a little bit, but not like a lot. Okay, so I'm still like upright, but not like I am giving a little bit to let that hip move. Last few. Yeah, the second side is going to be tough because really it's bilateral. Both hips are working on the first side. Yeah, you want to do it till you got to shake it out, right? It's kind of the same as half moon, right? Half moon, we just have the toe turned out and we go like this, which allows for like basically more movement. The rotational restriction is reduced. So we do it like that a lot in yoga. But here, you just can't really go as far here. Basically the same thing, right? All right, guys, so I'm going to keep you moving forward here in the end. We're going to turn our toes to the front. Just step forward when you're done here. How about we take a sun salutation just to kind of cleanse. On your next inhale, just reach those arms up. And on the exhale, you can take it down. You always can add a yogi squat if you'd like, or a crow pose. Inhale, half lift. We'll take it back through our vinyasa. You can add extra push-ups. So we did a round of push-ups earlier, and then we did chaturangas. So this could be your third round of push-ups if you need that upper body strength. Taking that cobra one more time here. Meeting back in the down dog. And now I'm going to go into stretching the pigeon stretch. Right shin forward. Hips back and down. Remember, you can stay upright. Look at left foot crawling back. Couple breaths here, yogis. Rolling your left hip toward your right heel. So I don't want to roll to the right. I want to try to roll my left hip down toward my right heel. Press the outer edge of your right foot down. Remember, lifting your heart and chest, a little easier. Maybe you come forward if you want to go a little bit here, more restful. Just the last few breaths, please.
It was a big hip day, right? So you need a little good hip stretch here in the end, okay? When you're done, let's switch up sides. No rush if you want to take it a little bit longer. After you shake it out a little bit, your left shin goes forward. Remember, the first thing we're working is just kind of basically bringing that, whatever leg is back in space, you crawl it back. So you use like your foot and your arms to bring your leg and your upper body back, which will also work your hips like back and down. Chest up and back, hips down and back. It's like that heel is always pulling back, whether you go forward or stay upright, okay? Couple more breaths here. Right hip rolling toward your left heel a little bit, and you're pressing the outer edge of your left foot down, your left shin down. This is active, yogis, okay? And remember, you're kind of on your own here. I'd rather have you base the timing off what your body's telling you and what you feel like you need, as opposed to me just, choosing a time. Practice intuitive body awareness. All right, that in itself is a big part of our practice. Okay, so you're going to shake that out a little bit. I got one more little front body stretch. Think of it like a final back bend. We did some active back bends earlier. So, even like that standing hamstring strengthener, I consider it a back bend because we're shortening back line.
lengthening front line. So biggest front body stretch now, yogis. The knees go together, the feet widen slightly. And this is to stretch out the, we didn't sit on the ankles today. Stretch out here. And the quads, so the front of your thighs. Again, you might need to untuck your calves or sit on a block, right? Feet, hands go back, and you're trying to work back, but you're not forcing this one, okay? You can lay on bolsters, pillows, blocks if you set them up. Won't be here too long today. I'm going to do this, a seated spinal twist, and maybe a quick touch of the toes, and then we're done, okay? All right, this is basically one of the biggest ways you can stretch your front body. Something like Cobra is a huge front body stretch, but the legs stay straight, which means your quadriceps are tightened, which means there's not much stretch between your feet through the hips. There's some, but you got to bend those knees deep to really get the true full body front stretch. Frog pose is actually the biggest front body stretch, right? Because we stay in hip extension and posterior tilt. Here we go slightly hip flexion and anterior tilt, which are also both shortening front line. So, but frog is like an advanced yoga pose, right? So, all right, guys, get up out of there here. Let's turn around to legs forward in seated position. And we're going to do a seated spinal twist. So final twist of class. We had quite a few in the beginning, and then we kind of stopped for a while. So right leg goes forward, left foot outside right knee. Any other twist is fine. Very gentle is just something like this, okay? Double bent knee is also welcome, okay? Right hand outside the knee or right forearm outside the knee. Try to sit up straight. Turn with your core. Gaze over the back shoulder, please. When you're thinking of the three fundamental twists in yoga, it's kind of like lunge, on your back, and seated, right? I mean, we do ones in like chair as well and in standing upright, but the three kind of fundamentals, laying on your back, seated, and lunge, okay? Let's slowly come back to center and do our second side. And this is gonna most likely for a lot of us be the deepest twist now. You're using that arm to kind of twist in the core, whereas in the beginning we were still warming up. We did the moving one, maybe not as deep at that point in class. So yogis, what I'd like you to do here is finish up that last, twist. Maybe a good idea to like reach for your toes one more time, or if you want to lay on your back, we started class on the back, did quite a bit there. But if you want to like throw your legs up over your body or legs up the wall is nice, or in the air. How about you say one last quick pose, and then I'll just guide you into your meditation, okay? All right, yogis. So we're gonna eventually, it's nice if you want to extend your practice for extra 15 minutes, that's good. You're feeling good and kind of in your body, you want to take advantage of that. And anytime you feel inspired to do extra exercise, go for it. Because some days you don't have that, right? But to end whenever you're ready, I'm going to guide you today. And then unfortunately, I got to get to my other class. So you want to get into your most comfortable position and set an intention now to like let go and surrender.
So sometimes you hear in yoga rooms people are deep breathing during Shavasana. We actually want our lungs to rest as much as possible because you were doing breath practice for an hour. So now we let the lungs relax, just like we let the body relax because we were working it for an hour. Okay. We also want to let the mind ease because we were focusing, concentrating for an hour. So everything is really surrenderous. Okay. That's the word they use in like the ancient yoga. It's a practice of surrendering. All right. So you get as comfortable as possible. You close your eyes. It is suggested you usually cover your eyes if you have something, a dark place. Um, you take a breath or two if you need, and you relax. The lungs, you might have to shake it out a little bit to optimize the comfort. Remember, there's always a lot of setup and intention for meditation. You don't just say, I'm going to go about my regular day, then I'm going to meditate. There's a lot of like a process you develop to get into meditative mind and body. So then you start to relax your abdomen, your tongue, your eyes, and you're melting. Everything is getting heavy. You're letting go, yogis, letting everything rest. All right. So I'm going to leave you guys here. Have a great meditation. Next class is Yoga Core, Tuesday at 9 a.m. Okay. Have a great Sunday and happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Namaste, yogis.